The sledgehammer felt heavier than it should have. Marcus Chen stood motionless in his backyard, eyes locked on the old concrete pool that once echoed with his daughter's laughter. 3 years of hospital visits had drained everything, his savings, his patience, and nearly his hope. But Karen Whitmore, the neighbor from hell, didn't see a father sacrificing for his child. She saw a man lowering the value of her property. When the police sirens wailed down the quiet suburban street and lit up his driveway, Marcus realized something disturbing. Some neighbors would rather destroy you than understand you. And what Karen didn't know was that Marcus had just received a phone call that would flip her little war on its head. Marcus had always prided himself on keeping his emotions in check. But as he stood in his backyard, sledgehammer in hand, sweat and tears blurred together on his face. The in-ground pool had cost him $30,000 to install 5 years ago. Now it was a symbol of the life he had before the diagnosis, before the hospital stays, before watching his 8-year-old daughter, Emma, fight for her life. Dad, are you sure about this? His 16-year-old son, Jake, stood beside him, his voice trembling with maturity far beyond his years. Maybe we could find another way. Marcus wiped his face with a work-gloved hand. The contractor's coming Monday to fill it in. Insurance doesn't cover experimental treatments, son. This is what we have to do. Emma had found peace in that pool. Even during the chemo, even when she was weak and pale, she would ask to float in the water. On good days, she'd pretend to be a mermaid, laughing in the sun, her bald head glistening, her eyes still full of dreams. Jake's voice cracked again. She's going to be okay, right? The treatment in Germany, it'll work? Marcus didn't answer right away. Dr. Reeves had said the therapy was promising, but not guaranteed. A 60% success rate, but the cost was higher than most people made in 2 years. The pool represented Emma's past. Selling it might buy her a future. It has to, Marcus finally whispered. Then he lifted the sledgehammer and brought it crashing down. The decorative tiles around the edge of the pool shattered, the sound echoing through the sleepy suburb like a gunshot. He had started early, hoping to avoid disturbing anyone. He should have known better. Marcus Chen, what in God's name do you think you're doing? A sharp, shrill voice pierced the morning air. Marcus turned. Karen Whitmore stood at the fence, her blonde hair coiffed like she had a permanent appointment with a 1980s pageant stylist. Her face was twisted with outrage. I'm removing the pool, Marcus replied evenly. Without permits? Without notification? This is outrageous. You're going to tank all our property values. She flailed her arms like she was summoning the HOA gods themselves. You can't just rip up your yard like some kind of hillbilly. Jake flinched beside him. He had his mother's quick temper. Marcus gently placed a hand on his son's shoulder before the boy could explode. Karen, Marcus said calmly, I filed all the paperwork with the city. This is my property. I have the right to modify it. Karen's face turned crimson. Your rights end where my property value begins. I've lived here for 15 years. I will not stand by while you turn this neighborhood into some kind of what? Marcus's voice was tighter now. The strain, the fear of us, the rage. It was all surfacing. Some kind of place, she snapped, where people make poor decisions because of personal problems. If you can't afford to maintain your home, maybe you should live somewhere more appropriate for your circumstances. That hit like a punch to the gut, as if his daughter's illness was a moral failure, as if love, grief, and sacrifice were unfit for the perfect little HOA world she had built in her mind. Jake stepped forward, his voice seething. You heartless. Jake, inside. Now. Marcus's command was firm. Check on your sister. But Dad. Go. Jake shot Karen a look that could have melted a steel gate, then stormed into the house. Marcus turned back to his neighbor. Karen, I understand you're worried about property values, but my daughter is dying. This pool could save her life. And if that's not appropriate for your neighborhood standards, then maybe we have different definitions of what matters. For a moment, something flickered across her face. Was it shame? No, not Karen. It vanished just as fast as it had come, replaced by smug righteousness. I'm sorry about Emma, really I am, but you don't have carte blanche to destroy your yard whenever you like. There are procedures, Marcus. There are standards. Marcus's voice dropped dangerously quiet. Is that what you call it? Watching your daughter fight for her life? Financial difficulties? Karen crossed her arms tightly. I call it life. Bad things happen. Doesn't mean the rest of us should pay the price. Marcus stared at her, silently registering the depth of her casual cruelty. Most people offered sympathy, or at least awkward silence. Karen? Karen measured Emma's life in resale value. You know what, Karen, you're right. We do have different standards. And with that, he turned and swung the sledgehammer again. The next hit cracked the concrete. The third blow sprayed tile into the yard. Each strike was Marcus releasing months of frustration at insurance denials, broken promises, and the helplessness of being a father on the edge of desperation. I'm calling the city, Karen shrieked over the noise. And the HOA, this is unacceptable. Marcus kept swinging. The police then. Disturbing the peace, property damage, no permits. Let's see how this looks when you're in cuffs. He paused, sledgehammer raised, breathing hard. The only property being destroyed is mine, he said quietly, and I have every permit I need. Oh, really? Karen's grin turned predatory. Because I happen to know that noise ordinances prohibit construction before 9 o'clock a.m. on weekends, and right now it's 7:30. Marcus's stomach dropped. He'd been so focused on working early, trying to avoid disruption, that he hadn't checked the city's timing laws. And FYI, she hissed, major landscaping changes require neighbor notification in this town, which you failed to do. I'm not building a pool, I'm removing one. Doesn't matter, Karen snapped. Drainage, aesthetics, property lines, it all qualifies. Marcus realized then, this wasn't a neighborly concern. This was a strategic, calculated attack. Karen, he pleaded one last time. Please, my daughter. Is not my responsibility. My property value is. Those words, they broke something in him. There would be no reasoning with her, no appeal to decency. Karen had made her choice, and she was going to war. Marcus set the sledgehammer down slowly. He didn't need to say more. They understood each other now. Karen had drawn a line, and she believed she'd won. Well then, she said smugly, I suggest you stop this nonsense and find a more appropriate solution. Marcus glanced at the pool, the cracked tiles, the fractures in the concrete, one blow at a time. That's how walls came down. Then, like clockwork, the morning was painted red and blue. A police cruiser rolled into Marcus's driveway, lights flashing with official authority. Out stepped Officer Janet Rodriguez and a younger officer named Thompson. Marcus looked across the street. Karen stood on her porch, arms crossed in triumph. To her, justice was being served. Mr. Chen, Officer Rodriguez said carefully, her voice measured. We received a complaint about potential property destruction and noise violations. Marcus wiped the concrete dust from his hands. The call from Germany still echoed in his mind. Emma didn't need the pool money anymore. She was going to live. Officer, I'm removing my own pool on my own property. I have all the necessary permits. Karen called out loud and proud. At 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday, waking the whole neighborhood with your racket. Rodriguez looked from Karen to Marcus. She had the look of a seasoned cop, someone who'd mediated dozens of neighborhood disputes and could smell entitlement from a mile away. Sir, may I see your permits? Marcus pulled the folded documents from his back pocket. Rodriguez examined them while Thompson walked over to the wrecked pool. These seem in order, Rodriguez said, handing them back. But there is the matter of the noise ordinance. Weekend construction is restricted before 9 o'clock a.m. I understand, officer. I was trying to minimize disruption. I guess it backfired. Karen descended her porch like a queen, satisfied with her pending victory. Officer, this man has terrorized this neighborhood for months. Property damage, disturbances. His whole situation has brought down the street. Rodriguez raised a hand. Ma'am, let me handle this. But Karen was on a roll. Do you know what this kind of behavior does to a neighborhood? We have standards. This is not how responsible adults behave. Officer Thompson flipped through his notepad. Mrs. Whitmore, you filed several complaints, noise violation, property destruction, and let me see, suspicious behavior, threat to neighborhood safety. That's right, Karen huffed. He's been acting unstable for weeks. Up all night, calling people, crying, and now this violent outburst? Violent? Marcus said softly, but there was steel in his voice. I'm demolishing my own pool with my own tools on my own property. With a sledgehammer, like some kind of maniac. Rodriguez moved between them, sensing the rising temperature. Let's all take a breath. No, officer, Karen interrupted. I have documented evidence of this man's declining mental state. The calls, the crying, the deteriorating lawn. He's lost control. Crying, Marcus repeated, stunned. Oh, yes, she sneered. All hours of the night, sobbing like a child. It's pathetic for a grown man. I've been documenting it all. For the HOA. Disturbing the peace. Failure to maintain property standards. Now this. You've been documenting my grief? Marcus's voice barely rose above a whisper, but something in it made both officers pause. Karen, oblivious, continued. Someone has to maintain standards around here. We can't let people fall apart every time life gets hard. There are proper ways to deal with things, proper places for people who can't cope. Rodriguez cut in sharply. Mrs. Whitmore, what exactly are you suggesting? Karen's eyes gleamed. I'm saying that a man who cries all night and destroys property with a sledgehammer might not be fit to. She stopped herself, but it was too late. Fit to what? Marcus asked, his voice cold and razor sharp. Karen faltered. For the first time, doubt crept into her expression, but pride wouldn't let her stop. Fit to make rational decisions for his family's welfare. The silence was deafening. Even the birds had stopped singing. Officer Thompson cleared his throat. Ma'am, are you suggesting Mr. Chen is unfit to care for his children? I'm suggesting someone should look into it, for the children's sake. A man who's clearly having a breakdown. That man, a voice cut through like a whip, is trying to save his daughter's life. Jake had returned, his face flushed, his fists clenched. And behind him, Emma, Adi, bald, wrapped in a pink cap, a port visible in her chest, but her eyes still glowing with fire. Emma, Marcus rushed to her. You should be resting. I heard the sirens, Daddy. Her voice was soft but steady. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Karen's gaze locked on Emma, and everything changed. Her anger faltered. Her smugness cracked. This, Marcus said, pulling Emma close, is my daughter. This is why I'm removing the pool. For treatment. To save her life. Emma took his hand, thin, cold, but strong. It's okay, Daddy. Dr. Mueller called while you were outside. He told Jake, we don't need the pool money anymore. Rodriguez's head snapped up. Is that true? Marcus nodded, his throat tight. The American Pediatric Leukemia Foundation is covering it all, Jake added. His voice was breaking. Emma's going to Germany. She's going to live. Karen just stood there, frozen. Shame, regret, recognition. So, Marcus said, the pool removal isn't needed anymore. My daughter is going to live. Mrs. Whitmore, Rodriguez said firmly, do you still want to press charges? Karen opened her mouth, then closed it. I didn't, I mean, I was just trying to help Daddy, Emma asked sweetly. Karen was silent, for the first time, 3 weeks later. Marcus stood in Frankfurt Airport. Emma Mike was sleeping beside him. Jake checked his phone. Dad, he said, Mom says Karen's moving out today. Marcus nodded. After weeks of fallout, she'd lost everything. Her harassment had backfired. The HOA turned on her. The courts did too. The recordings she made, they became evidence against her. Emma stirred. Are we talking about the mean lady? Not mean, Marcus said. Just lost. Is that why she was mad at us? I think she was scared, sweetheart. Some people are so scared of their own lives. They try to ruin other people's just to feel better. Emma nodded. I used to be scared of the treatments, but then I realized being scared doesn't change anything. It only changes how you feel. Jake smiled. When did you get so wise? When I realized I was going to live. Mr. Chen? Dr. Reeves approached with Maria Santos, David Kim, and a journalist named Jennifer Walsh. They were here because of Jake's letter. Your son's words moved thousands, Maria said. He told us how you tore down your pool to save Emma, how you stayed kind even when your neighbor wasn't. They told Marcus about a new initiative, the Emma Chen Foundation for Pediatric Cancer Support, family funding, emotional care, advocacy, and they wanted Marcus to lead it. Emma perked up. Daddy would help other sick kids? Yes, Jennifer said. Families just like yours. I need to think about it, Marcus said. There's more, said Dr. Reeves. Karen's story has sparked national conversations. New HOA policies are being written. Your family's story is changing the way we protect families in crisis. Jake grinned. Dad, you're famous. Emma giggled. Can I be famous too? Maria smiled. You already are. Marcus got a text. It was from Karen. I'm getting help. I'm sorry for everything. I hope Emma gets better. She deserves better than what I showed her. Jake noticed. You okay, Dad? Yeah, Marcus said. Everything's fine. Mr. Chen? Maria asked again. What about the foundation? Marcus looked at Jake, at Emma, at the life he nearly lost and the mission he was now called to. Will it help people understand what we went through? He asked. Yes, David said. That's the whole point. Marcus nodded. Then yes, I'll do it. Emma clapped. Daddy's going to be a superhero. Not a superhero, sweetie, Marcus smiled. Just a dad who learned that sometimes the worst things that happen to us become the best things we do for others. As they walked toward the hospital, Emma tugged his sleeve. Daddy? Yes? Do you think the mean lady, Karen, will she be okay? Marcus paused. I think she's trying, sweetheart, and sometimes trying is where healing begins.